Hey, welcome back to YT Finance, and this is the channel where I went to business school so you didn't need to, and today we are talking about how Palantir has recently been selected for an army program, which is fantastic news. Then we're going to talk about Nio Stock and how the short seller report is really negatively impacting their overall stock price, and if we should even pay attention to the short seller allegations. So we have new updates and news regarding that. Then lastly, we're going to talk about Sofi's SOFI stock to determine what the latest 10 price targets are for this particular company from an analyst perspective. So for more videos like this one, remember to go and smash that like button right now for more videos, subscribe if you are new, like this video if you haven't already, if you want to hear more about Palantir Technologies, Nio Stock, and Sofi Technologies. Without further ado, let's jump right into today's stories. So if you didn't know, Palantir Technologies is a big data and analytics company that serves both commercial clients as well as government enterprises. And right now, the PLTR stock price trades for around $9 per share. However, very bearish and negative investors think that the company is going to fall to around $6 per share. However, very bullish positive investors think that the company could surge all the way up to $16 over the next 12 months. However, despite these price targets, Palantir Technologies has a fantastic news update for us because they were one of two companies that were actually awarded a prime contract with the United States Army to build a prototype for the Tactical Intelligence Targeting Access Node, also known as Titan, or TITAN. This is going to be a $36 million contract, and the POP, or the period of performance for this particular contract, will span around 14 months. Because of this fantastic update and this new contract that Palantir landed with the government, the president of Palantir USG said that now more than ever, the nation's warriors and allies are being asked to make more decisions at a faster speed with more available data. He goes on to say, Titan is the crucial combination of the defense industry's best technology from both emerging and enduring DoD partners, and we are proud to serve as a non-traditional prime contractor for this effort, end quote. So overall, this is fantastic news. It not only shows that the United States government is highly reliant on Palantir Technologies, and they have also been rewarding newer contract, or rather new contract phases to Palantir Technologies, but it's really good how Palantir Technologies is continuously increasing their exposure to the United States government and our allies. We actually talked about this Titan program back in 2021, where the Titan program was in their design phase, in which both Palantir Technologies and Raytheon were selected for a 12-month competitive effort. So I like to see how Palantir was again chosen for the next phase of this particular program that's going to help both the United States Army as well as the citizens, because when you take care of the government and the United States Army, you're also defending the citizens, and this is overall very positive news. So hopefully the PLTR stock can start to appreciate even more in price. Also, if you didn't know, Bank of America, particularly a Bank of America analyst, has actually given the PLTR stock a $13 price target, which to me is pretty bullish because, like we said earlier, the company is trading for around $9, which means that according to a Bank of America analyst, Palantir Technologies is a good buying opportunity because right now they have a buy rating for the PLTR stock. Now let's move on to our next story regarding Nio. And Nio is an electric vehicle company that is located over in China. And right now the current stock price for Nio's NIO stock is $21 per share. However, very bearish negative investors think that the company is worth at minimum $25 per share, which is actually good because right now the NIO stock is trading below $25 at $21, which means this could be a good buying opportunity. However, we're going to talk more about that later because of the short seller report. More bullish investors think that the company could reach at least $67 per share, which is overall very bullish and very positive for this company, because if they could surge to $67 over the next 12 months, investors could literally triple their money in around a year's time. So overall, that is amazing news. Now, if you didn't know, recently Grizzly Research has come out with a short seller report about Nio Stock, and normally after a short seller report is released, the stock in which the short seller report is about, whether or not it's true or false, normally that company's stock price decreases, and that's exactly what we've been seeing for Nio. Nio investors are clearly worried about this, especially for the investors who have a large allocation to this particular electric vehicle company. Nio's stock price price has fallen by around 11% on both the Hong Kong and Singapore stock exchanges, and in the United States, it's also in deep red territory right now. However, despite the short seller attack, Nio did respond to this original attack on the stock price and the company, so we're going to be talking about that. Now, if you didn't see my last video on Nio Stock, I'm going to catch you up real quick. There's no need to actually go back and watch that video because I'm going to fill you in very, very quickly here. So basically, Grizzly Research on June 28th actually said that Nio is fudging their numbers in terms of their accounting. And they're doing this through Wuhan Wineng, which is one of their affiliates that helps them out with their battery as a service platform. However, the alleged allegations against Nio is that Grizzly Research is saying that they have actually inflated their revenue by around 10%, and they've inflated their net income by around 95%. And this would be absolutely catastrophic if this actually rang true. So, what was Nio's response to this? Well, unsurprisingly, Nio rebutted the short seller's findings and said, and I quote, that numerous errors, unsupported speculations, and misleading conclusions and interpretations regarding information relating to the company was in the short seller report. However, I do want to point out that Nio did not go in depth for the response, detailing line by line their rebuttal to the short seller report, so which leads me to believe that right now, in the midst of this allegation, they are reviewing the allegations and gathering evidence right now. So this initial rebuttal or even rebuke of the short seller report is not very impressive in my view, because they basically just said that it's speculation, it's untrue, and there's numerous errors. However, they just made statements. They actually didn't go through and show people and investors their net income and their revenues and how it lines up from an accounting standpoint. So I personally would really want to see the hard numbers here and not just go off what the company is saying right now. However, it definitely could be true that Nio is correct and this was an unfounded short report. However, in short reports by companies, normally there's a little grain of truth, so I am interested to see what exactly is true or not. But in the meantime, Nio is looking into these allegations. Now, what does this mean for investors? Should you sell Nio stock right now? Well, right now, I would actually say probably not. It's a little premature as of right now. We don't have any hard data from either company, because if Nio can't accurately respond to these allegations, we can say and conclude that these allegations from Grizzly Research are actually true. However, if they can go line by line and show us the accounting proof in the numbers, then clearly Grizzly Research is lying here, and it could actually cause the Nio stock price to surge. Now, what I do want to point out is by looking into their revenues, they brought in around $5.7 billion in revenue as a rough number last year, and around $5.2 billion of that came from their vehicle sales, not their battery as a service platform. And that's allegedly where the number fudging is occurring, not necessarily in their vehicle sales, but in their battery as a service platform. And I know that is going to still reflect negatively on the company, but when you're bringing in around $5.7 billion, but you only really brought in around $5.2 billion, that's not really going to be a problem. Also, it's going to be a lot lower than that. But what would really affect me is them lying about their net income by increasing it at around 95% and inflating those numbers. That would be a huge problem for the overall Nio stock price, and it's not going to give investors that confidence they need, especially investors that are investing into shares of a foreign company. I've seen time and time again of Chinese companies actually fabricating their numbers and lying on certain accounting documents, making the company appear much better than it actually is. However, we don't know if Nio is doing that at this particular time, and I think that there is no real reason to sell the Nio stock right now, because we do need to take the short seller report with a grain of salt. However, I will keep all of you updated on the latest developments when Nio comes out with a line-by-line rebuttal to Grizzly Research's short seller report. But as of right now, they have just had a blanket statement across the board saying that it's false, it's loaded with errors, and they do not support this at all. So until Nio can actually respond, I would say that right now you would just want to hold your shares. But that is just my opinion, and you should do what makes you feel most comfortable. Now, I do want to say that even if this is true, what about the future growth of this company? Well, it's going to be really hard to convince investors, if the short seller report is true, that the company is actually a good growth company. However, I don't think it's hard to conceive that investors have identified this company as a phenomenal growth company. So we're going to be going over the bullish case and the bearish case, or rather the good news surrounding Nio stock and the bad bad news surrounding Nio Stock. So we're going to start off with the good news. The good news is that they are an electric vehicle company, which is a rapidly expanding market, and their deliveries and earnings have looked very positive, even though they've fluctuated in the recent months due to supply chain problems, but not due to demand problems. The main reason for this is because of the lockdowns in China and various bottlenecks that we've had in various supply chains due to lockdowns and material backups. They're also located in literally one of the largest new energy vehicle markets in the world, and that market is rebounding over in China extremely quickly. Nio also anticipates and projects that their deliveries are anticipated to jump around 80%, and they will be back at full capacity, which is going to help their new launches of the ET5 sedan and the ES7 SUV. So the company is literally expanding very rapidly, and I anticipate that this is going to positively impact the Nio stock price. They also have a plan to expand more into a mass market brand, and they anticipate that will come into fruition in full force in 2024. So given its current growth plans and its current growth trajectory, I do think there is upside in the Nio stock, at least more upside than downside. Now, the bad news and the bearish news is that the company's stock price has dropped from around $60 down to around $20 because of the current stock market. However, I do want to offset that with their current business plans to further expand into Europe and further penetrate markets in Norway, Germany, the Netherlands, Sweden, and Denmark all this year. But as geopolitical tensions rise, and with the ambiguity surrounding the short seller report, investors should definitely keep on their toes, specifically for this stock. However, as the valuation currently sits, I do think there is more upside left in the stock than downside, so it could be worth the risk for investors that are willing to stomach that volatility, and if their portfolio already has a very strong foundation and they don't mind investing into a very speculative growth company that is involved in the electric vehicle market. Now, lastly, we're going to talk about Sofi Technologies SOFI stock and how 10 analysts have 10 different price targets on this particular company. If you didn't know, Sofi Technologies is a fintech company, and they offer an all-in-one inclusive app that gives their consumers anything they could probably need in terms of financial services and or financial products. This would include things like student loan refinancing, personal loans, credit cards, checking accounts, savings accounts, and the like. Now, analysts are the majority bullish on this stock, and they have an average price target of around $13.72. And if you look on screen right here, you can see SoFi's price targets and their current price compared to what analysts think that the company is actually worth. Now, for me, I am pretty bullish on Sofi Technologies. Right now, the current stock price is around $5.27. So if the average price target is $13.72, clearly the company has a phenomenal upside. Even the low-end price target by analysts still offers upside for even the most bearish naysayer and critic of this particular company. So overall, I am very pleased with Sofi Technologies, but because it's a fintech company and a growth company, both of which are getting hit very hard right now, I do think that the company could have further downside in the future, as well as the current volatility that the stock is about to go through before the decision that the shareholders will make whether or not to give their management the authority to operate and initiate a reverse stock split, and we will know the results of that on July 12th. So until that happens, the company is going to be very volatile until then, but overall, analysts and investors are very bullish over the long term for Sofi Technologies SOFI stock, which is their ticker symbol. Now, that concludes our news stories for today. So if you want more videos like this one, remember to go and smash that like button right now, comment your thoughts down below, subscribe if you are new, and I will see you in the next YT video.